So much intelligence. I love when people bring a perspective that I can't have because I'm an American. I love this. A video I made called My Heritage, What Does a Spanish Person Look Like? Rodolfo Lobo had this to say, quote, "The USA owes a lot to Spain. USA would not be what it is without Spanish culture. Most of what is the United States belonged to the Spanish Empire in addition to helping in American independence. Most of the states and names of the cities are Spanish. Spain deserves much more. Mexico has nothing to do with Spain. They are very different because South America is made of different groups including Indians, blacks, whites. There's no real Spanish culture in South America." It goes on to say, "I think that Spain is very unknown in the United States, and when the United States was a Spanish majority many centuries ago," end quote. So I think it's interesting because I just made a video that someone else said that basically Mexicans have so much pride in their Spanish roots. So I made a video asking about that. Well, here's kind of like a sideways sequel to that, because here's someone saying, and I want to target this one thing. When they said, quote, "I think that Spain is very unknown in the United States," end quote. I want to agree with you on that. Just last week, I took my son to go see the movie Ferdinand about the bull that was didn't want to actually fight. And so we watched that movie, and it was very clear to me, okay, I'm learning Spanish culture apparently. These are what Spanish people look like and act like, and the bullfighting thing is a big part of their culture. I was learning about Spanish culture from a kid's movie, Ferdinand. And you may think, well, come on, a kid's movie about a bull, that's your perception of Spain? Yes, it is. Because Americans are so far removed from Spain. We just tend to think about Mexico a lot of times, or Cuba, or Puerto Rico, places that speak Spanish, because that's, in proximity, that's what we're exposed to. So then we're like, oh yeah, so Spain's just like kind of where they all came from, but it's largely the same thing for the most part. Now you could say, well, that's naive of Americans to think that way. We don't have a reason to think really beyond that. We're so far removed from Europe that we don't really think about Europe. We're not fascinated by Europe. I think most Americans feel that way. We're not fascinated by Europe. We're not impressed by Europe. We don't care about Europe. We don't think Europe is any better than any other part of the world. The world's a beautiful, big, beautiful place. Enjoy the whole world, you know. But I am curious if other people agree with our friend here on this, that the United States owes a lot to Spain. I mean, I can't deny the fact that, yeah, I've noticed how many cities especially have Spanish names. My wife is from California, and every year when we go to travel out there, it's like every city we go to is a Spanish name, and that's just how it is. I look at the buildings out there, they look Spanish, you know. So I think that's interesting, but as an American, I get confused sometimes. What is Mexican influence on us versus Spanish? Because I grew up in the South. I grew up in Alabama, which is closer to Texas, where there's a lot of Mexican culture there, because Texas used to actually be Mexico. So I don't know. I'm all I can say is I'm curious what other people think about this, as far as to comment on this. Does the United States owe a lot to Spain? Is a lot of our culture actually Spanish culture? If so, I really don't know what parts are, because I feel very distant from Spain. And as people who are from Spain leave comments on my videos, it becomes that much more apparent how much of a cultural difference there is between Americans and people who are actually in Spain. But yeah, I agree that Spain is very unknown in the United States. I think there's a lot of truth there. I can easily agree with that. What I can't know for sure right now is the USA would not be what it is without Spanish culture. That's the question mark. I don't know, because I don't know enough about Spanish culture to really comment. I'm going to leave that up to other people in the comment section right now.